I didn't freaking invent that. I experienced it. And I know from communication with my higher self, and I know from my orgasms in plural, the truth lies there. That's very provocative. But I can only give you this from my own perspective and my own experience. And what I'm telling you is something I don't believe in it, but I know it. How can we get into our own sacred space? How? I'm going to tell you the big secret. We got the big secret. Hi, this is Ash from the closet. And this day's topic, this episode is going to be a little bit provocative, a little bit, too much for some of you, and others will just love it. I know that. I've been told that. I've been inspired to talk to you about this sex. Like I said in the previous episode, I will talk about sex in this episode, #34, and I will. But it's not sex as sex I want to talk about. It's sex as you sex. You sex I want to talk about. I want to talk about you. I want to talk about me. And I want to talk about being a woman and not having had the education, the sex education, to know how to satisfy yourself and to know how to be with yourself and to know how to pleasure yourself and to know how to endure and to have pleasure and take in and demand your sexuality. Our sexuality, the female, especially when we are queers. No, we are not victims. We might just have a little more on our plate because there's not a common understanding that it's normal, quote normal, to be attracted to your own sex. For a lot of people. A lot of people have an understanding and are open-minded and they like diversity and they like that we can be free spirits, be free people, and create a world without war. A lot of us understand that. And then there's a lot who doesn't. But that's not our aim in this podcast to try and understand why and why not. But we do, as queer people, as women, I'm talking about myself, who are into women, have a little more on our plate, a little more of explanations on our plate, a little more of less understanding from other people on our plate. But the big secret, I'm going to tell you the big secret. We got the big secret. And cis women and women who haven't been with other women, they don't know the secret. And men will never know it because they cannot be a part of the goddess energy that we as queer women in a sexual situation can activate and can benefit from. I'm going to tell you the big secret. Okay, already I might have lost some of you now, but I can only give you this from my own perspective and my own experience. And what I'm telling you is something I don't believe in it, but I know it. I know it from the bottom of my heart and from my vagina that this is the truth. This is my truth, but I didn't invent it. I didn't come across a sentence saying, yeah, let's touch our vaginas so we can connect to our higher selves, so we can connect to the DMT in our brain and create DMT and be the best versions of ourselves in this lifetime. I didn't freaking invent that. I experienced it. And I know from communication with my higher self, and I know from my orgasms, I can't even say it in English, that the truth lies there. Yeah, the truth lies there. That's where we find the truth about ourselves as women and about our goddess status. Yeah, like it or not, that's the truth. And about our sensuality and sexuality. All these informations are buried in our orgasms, in that energy field we create when we orgasm. But let's step back a few moments. Let's step back to you. Let's step back to you and your orgasm. Think about it. You don't have to reply because I can't hear you, and you don't have to tell anybody. This is your own little private secret. What's your orgasms like? What are they like? I'm not talking about the orgasms when you are touching yourself or when you once long ago maybe had an orgasm with somebody else, or maybe you did yesterday or a few moments ago. I'm talking about in general, because I know that orgasms with a person, and I'm going to quote again, a woman to a woman, it's different. But with a person, let's just say a person, then I can embrace everybody, all women. It is different than when you are by yourself and you give yourself pleasure or you connect to yourself. It's a different orgasm, isn't it? If it's not, start exploring. But let's say more or less it's different, but it's more or less in the same category. It's a little bit a tiny cramp that comes, and maybe you can get another tiny cramp, whether it's fingers, it's touch, it's sucking, it's licking, it's I don't know how you get it. It's a cramp. But you know, and you have forgotten. The cramp, that's just opening up the big front door to the entrance of all the great, deep, profound orgasms hiding behind that little cramp. The first one, maybe. That little cramp. That's just opening up. But the big secret, I'm going to tell you the big secret. I have explored for years. I'm an educated sex therapist, but with my own sex life, I have explored for years. But I have explored with the same partner, a man. And today I explore with women because I am a queer woman. I know that, and I found out from the very first time I was with a woman. My very first time with a woman as a late bloomer, and when it happened, the sexual intercourse, you can say, the sexual act, the connection, the sensual connection to her, and being with her, I came home. I found myself. I knew that this could never be as it is with a woman. And I found out that being with her was something so profound, so real, so natural, so good, and so pleasurable that it could never, ever in a million years be compared to sexual intercourses between a man and a woman. It could never be compared because what we did in that moment of history, that woman in Berlin and I, we created some kind of synergy, some kind of entanglement. Her and me got entangled in something beyond the sex part. But it was an essential thing that happened that woke me up. And I realized that this is what it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Meant to be. This is what it was prior. The patriarch systems came across and told us to be married to men and have a family and be in the systems of that system and close us down sexually.
Honestly?
We are women, not only queer women, but women. We are a wave of emotions. And that wave of emotions is an essential part in our lower part of the body that's connected to all emotions of all women.
Yeah.
All women. When you have, as a young woman, you have your period in tribes, in some parts of the world, that's a sacred period. That's a sacred state of being in. Then you would be placed somewhere, like in a temple, secluded from the rest of the people, and where you would connect to the higher source, whatever you believed in. And you would be gathering information like an oracle, and you would come back as that sacred person who just had a sacred experience having her period, and give information to the tribe or to the people who lived with you, how things should be done and what we should do, and be helped by the universe. It was sacred. And in Denmark, the young people are saying, and I did when I was young and I had my period, we were saying, I got my shit. And we were being taught by our culture that it smells. And it has a smell when it's connected to that towel or tampon you're using that's been bleached and is full of chemicals and is so unnatural. Of course, there will be an odor, a smell that's not nice. But the natural scent, the natural scent of our period is not smelling. It's fantastic and it's sacred. It's sacred. But it's been made to be smell. It's been told cultural through generations that it is smelling, that it's dirty. And even the young men, the young boys go, ooh, she's got a period. Ooh, it smells. Hello. We know also when we were young and we had our period, most of us were so horny when we had it. Because that was the time when we couldn't, or there was a smaller chance of getting pregnant. And the horniness doesn't go hand in hand with somebody saying, oh, you smell, you're dirty, you have to cover up, you have to stay away, you have to not to have sex because you are bleeding. Holy shit, holy moly. It's totally upside down. But I'm not going to talk about period. I'm just talking about how our sexuality has been shut down and our sacred vagina, our sacred period, and our sacred ability to create life, to be the alchemists, has been shut down as being sacred, as being connected to the goddess energy. So how How on earth can we be connected being adult women to our sexuality? And we want to have sex and pleasure and not just that little cramp. How can we get into our own sacred space? How? I'm going to say again, because it was there once we were born and little girls and before we were being told not to touch ourselves and especially not in front of other people because that's nasty. Go private. Don't do it. You're nasty. Don't touch yourself. Guilt and shame. The little girl didn't understand it because she was sacred, but she was being taught something else. She was being shut down. That's you.
Yeah.
That's you. That's me. Hear me out. That's us. But my podcast is about inspiration, and I'm here to inspire you to close it up. To close it up and say no more. I'm gonna freaking explore that vagina. I'm gonna freaking explore my sexuality. I'm not going to be on my deathbed thinking, oh, I wish I had more pleasure. I wish I had more sex and sexual connection to the goddess energy within me so I could be a more intuitive person and have a more better life and be more clarified in my life instead of stumbling around in my existence, not knowing which direction to go because I didn't have a connection to my higher self. Because I didn't know, nobody learned me, nobody taught me, nobody showed me that the entrance to our higher self is through our vagina and our sexuality. It is through our orgasms.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. Woohoo! My goodness. How do we connect to that? How? How would you connect to that? Think about it. How would you connect to that? Shame. Feeling shame is something that was put on you. It's not a natural state, girl. It's not a natural state. You have a history. And a lot of us, we have a history where somebody was crossing our boundaries, and it was a man mostly. And I love men. I got 5 boys, so it's not that I'm not a man hater, not at all. But from experience, a lot of us had experiences where our boundaries were crossed, where we were little girls or very young women, and we allowed ourselves to be a part of something that crossed our sexuality and that did something to us that was not all right. We had experiences where we couldn't say no, or where we agreed, or maybe not agreed, but we still didn't say no to certain experiences, sexual experiences. Or maybe we just didn't have the power to know if we really wanted it or didn't want it, because nobody have taught us about setting boundaries and getting to know your sexuality before you throw yourself into sexual encounters with other people. Nobody has taught us anything. Yeah, we heard about a condom and so on, but that's it. So that experiences might have put a lot of shame on us. Or maybe we were being told to shut off our sexuality and behave and be the nice girl. So we feel shameful. But hear me out. It's not ours. It was brought down from generations. And your mother or a teacher or a sister or a friend might have told you something that made you feel shameful. Or that experience with a boy or a girl in your prior life as a girl, little girl, or as a young, immature woman brought shame on you. But let it go. You are not a victim. You are so powerful. You don't have to feel shame. Let it go. It's not yours. Whatever happened is a part of your history, but you are not your history. Can you take that? Practice in thinking that, so you can start living without any shame. And then you can start touching yourself at night before you sleep, during the night or in the morning, and in the morning. If you feel you want to use sex toys, do it, because they can give a lot of pleasure. And that can be a way into getting to know your own sexuality, so you know in sexual encounters with other people, what you want and how you want it. That's a huge benefit when you are having sexual intercourses or sexual experiences with other people. Huge, huge benefit. If somebody tells you what they like, of course, it's way easier than you have to try and ask and try and ask and try and ask. And they go, I don't know. I'm 50 years and I don't know. You don't want to be that person, do you? I mean, I don't. So, in my next meditation that comes after this episode, I will guide you with your breathing to connect. It's a sexual meditation, and I hope it won't be banned, but I will guide you to connect to your higher self through touching yourself, through your sensuality, where you use your senses, and through your sexuality, where you can gain the most fantastic orgasms, in plural, using your breath. We are creatures of multi-orgasms, in plural. So don't stop in front of the front door when you have that little cramp. No. It's just like turning the key to open up to a whole new universe, where you, with more orgasms in that same sexual encounter, can gain access to your pineal gland that can create DMT in your brain, that can create a connection to your higher self. Yeah, very long-haired, we would say, very hippie, but it's a fact. I'm not a scientist, but I know what I have heard scientists say. And it's combined with my own experience. Isn't it fantastic? So it works. Listen to the meditation and don't feel shameful after this episode. Listen to the meditation and you will know what to do with yourself, and start being that woman who knows how she likes her pleasure. And be open that every pleasure with every different person might be different, but you can always replicate your own sexual energy, your connection to your vagina in every situation with a new person or with the same person. Every day is different. So wake up with me and be that sexual person, that sexual goddess you were born to be. Wake up.